Very happy. If anything, we'll put more there if they want. But they've long wanted to have a larger presence. We have some countries that have more, not too many, but no, they'll be staying in Poland. We're very much aligned with Poland.
Sir, on Russia and China, sir, can we ask about, we saw a dramatic picture where we saw the leaders of Russia and North Korea and China together, the first time the leaders of those three countries have been together in this sort of show of solidarity. You said that they're conspiring against the United States. What do you think they're conspiring to do? And given this, is it reason why you should slap or would consider slapping secondary sanctions on Russia if they're conspiring against the U.S. now?
Well, I've already done that with regard to India, and we're doing it with regard to other things. And I put out a truth last night. You saw that. And I was the one that brought it up. I said, they're only doing this. They're looking to, when they did what they did, I thought it was a beautiful ceremony. I thought it was very, very impressive. But I understood the reason they were doing it, and they were hoping I was watching, and I was watching. My relationship with all of them is very good. We're going to find out.
Yeah, he was jelly beans on the China parade. By the way, he was posting about the China parade on Truth Social. It was really funny.
How good it is.
Navrosky was literally a hooligan who was beating people in hooligan fights. It's so funny. This man is my president, LeMafiao. He also has a literal Nazi friends, like with swastika tattoos, by the way. I mean, I'm not going to say nothing about Poland.
For the next week or two. I think that we helped China very much, as you know, when they talk about freedom. And I don't believe that, and maybe I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't believe that America, that the United States was acknowledged for helping China to gain its freedom. But perhaps that was just that was a sleight of hand. I mean, I was very surprised. I watched the speech last night. President Xi's a friend of mine, but I thought that the United States should have been mentioned last night during that speech because we helped China very, very much.
What was the reason?
They should have been invited, Mr. President.
What was the reason?
Mr. President, do you think they should have been invited?
Yes, go ahead.
You've expressed many times your frustration and disappointment with Putin, but there's no action since you took your office.
How do you know there's no? How do you know there's no action?
But
Really?
don't you worry,
Wait. Who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with Polish radio.
Okay. How do you know there's no action? Would you say that putting secondary sanctions on India, the largest purchaser outside of China, they're almost equal, would you say there was no action? That cost hundreds of billions of dollars to Russia. You call that no action? And I haven't done phase 2 yet or phase 3. But when you say there's no action, I think you ought to get yourself a new job, because if you remember 2 weeks ago I said if India buys, India's got big problems, and that's what happened. So don't tell me about that. Go ahead.
Mr. President,
Mr. President, right now there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massie, who was sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on the release of those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is...
Oh, God. Oh, God. You're talking about Epstein again. Don't do it. Nobody cares about Epstein. Just a New York financier. New York financier. Who cares? Why do you care? Do you care about finance? You're still talking about him? The Epstein guy? Who cares? Believe it.
Redacting them and slow walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax, because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do. all run by Democrats, or for the most part run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the...
Huh. Oh. That's what people are doing with the Epstein hoax. He's still going along with the Epstein hoax, by the way. The Democrats are distracting people by talking about the Epstein hoax, as opposed to talking about his big, beautiful actions of illegally using the military as a domestic police force on populous American metropolitan cities. Why won't they talk about this? Why won't they talk about my illegal military occupation? It's so much better. It's so much better. Obama did Epstein.
Tremendous success, like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about, because they're going to talk about the Epstein, whatever. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough, because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having.
Brian Griffin is a political science major who works for or worked with Ron DeSantis. He's a white Christian nationalist baby, Lee Atwater. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, he's just LARPing as a Jewish man online. That's what I remember. Anyway, let's continue.
I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
When do you make a decision on Ukraine, Mr. President?
Redacted, sir.
I have no message to President Putin. He knows where I stand, and he'll make a decision one way or the other. Whatever his decision is, we'll either be happy about it or unhappy. And if we're unhappy about it, you'll see things happen.
Venezuela, can you give us a sense of what the U.S. policy, or what you're trying to achieve with the aircraft carriers, or the boats, I should say, in near Venezuela, and also the boat that you mentioned yesterday where 11 people were killed? What was found on that boat, and why were the men killed instead of taken into
On the boat, you had massive amounts of drugs. We have tapes of them speaking. It was massive amounts of drugs coming into our country to kill a lot of people. And everybody fully understands that. In fact, you see it. You see the bags of drugs all over the boat. And they were hit. Obviously, they won't be doing it again. And I think a lot of other people won't be doing it again when they watch that tape. They're going to say, let's not do this. We have to protect our country, and we're going to. Venezuela's been a very bad actor. They've been, as you know, they've been sending millions of people into our country, many of them Tren de Aragua, some of the worst gangs, some of the worst people anywhere in the world in terms of gangs. And we had some in Washington, D.C. We took care of them very quickly, but they're out of here. They've gone. But Venezuela's been very bad, both in terms of drugs and sending some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world into our country. They emptied out, you don't know this, but they emptied out their prisons in Venezuela, and they emptied them out into the United States of America. And that's part of the problem we have. We're getting them out. We're getting them out rapidly, but it's caused a tremendous problem. And Pete and all of the people that are working very hard to rectify the stupidity of the Biden administration, allowing these people to pour into our country with open borders. We are paying a big price as a country for the incompetence of the Biden administration. But think of it, opened up prisons, drug dealers, drug lords, everything coming out of Venezuela, they said, and we said, we're not going to put up with it anymore. So Venezuela has been one of the worst actors in the whole group, and we have a group of pretty bad actors.
Are you wanting to force withdrawal?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. At the end of this month, the government, or the Congress, has to pass a budget. Do you think we can avoid a government shutdown?
Yeah, I do. I think the Republicans will vote for an extension. We won't have any Democrat votes. We could give the greatest budget ever. Tax cut of 50%, everybody taken care of, perfect for women, perfect for men, perfect for minorities, perfect for everything, and we wouldn't get one vote for the Democrats because they've lost their mind. They are so deranged. They have Trump derangement syndrome, and I don't want to burn the Republican Party with it, but they really are. They've become almost sick. They actually think there is a disease It's called Trump derangement syndrome. They've got it. No matter what we did, no matter how good, you could give them everything that they've ever dreamed of, and you wouldn't get one vote. These are sick people, and I think we're going to have a tremendous midterm. We just approved the largest tax decrease in the history of our country. We have things, if you think of it, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security for our seniors, no tax on overtime, deduction.
The Polish president is just sitting there. Come on. I mean, that's a classic. That's a classic. This is what Trump does best, which is have world leaders sit there as he just fucking postures endlessly about Trump derangement syndrome and just goes on and on. It's a part of sitting on the cuck chair. It's a part of the cuck experience. And I mean, he doesn't just do this to Poland. He does this to England. He does this to Germany. He does it to them literally at the same time. Remember, he did this when like Macron, Keir Starmer, like fucking Ursula von der Leyen or Merz, like they were all sitting around the table and he just made them sit there and just droned on and on and on and on about all of this nonsense. The only time he doesn't really do it as much is when he was with Vladi. I feel like he has more respect for Vladi, so it don't matter. Like he doesn't do that. He doesn't pull that with Vladi.
When you buy a car and you borrow money to buy a car, first time they've ever seen anything like this, middle-income people get deductions. You get a deduction when you buy a car. Nobody's ever seen. And by the way, they're selling cars like crazy. Cars are pouring back because of the fact that we have tariffs. Cars are pouring back into our car plants are pouring back into our nation. They're coming from all over the world. They're coming back. You know, we lost about 54% of automobile manufacturing over a 30-year period, 35-year period. They're all coming back. I think they're coming back higher than ever before. We have AI going up. What we've done is amazing, and what we've passed is amazing. But the Democrats, I don't believe, will get one vote. It's very anti-crime. We want anti-crime. They're in favor of crime. We're against crime. You know, they gave us things like men playing in women's sports, open borders for everybody, transgender for everybody. I mean, they want a transgender.
This doesn't even make sense as like a sentence, okay? They want to transgender everybody. These guys have devolved so rapidly, especially in the last decade, that they don't even need to communicate using the English language. As long as you are grunting in the direction, the audience responds positively to it. I swear to God, in the next 5 years, if we're still alive, they're just going to go, trans, and then people will understand what the message is. It's like, oh, okay, I'm activated. He said the word, and he grunted. This was a negative grunt. They're trying to transgender for everybody. That makes no fucking sense. What are you saying? It is a clear-cut indication that American political discourse has basically devolved into caveman shit. Everybody's computer, everything is transgender, everybody. And people go, hell yeah, dude, that's my fucking bold-ass president right there. I love him. I love him so much. He is so real. He's such a real one, dude. That's awesome. It's so fucking dumb.
For all of the crazy things that they were saying, and, you know, people would say they're 80-20 issues. I say they were 97-3. I always say 97-3, and nobody knows who that's with.
I always say it. Nobody knows.
This is the best.
Nobody knows what that means, but I say it anyway. Everybody transgender. Everybody transgender. Everybody knows. When I say it, everybody knows what that means. I like to say 99% to 1%. 99% say nobody transgender, 1% say everybody transgender.
Best issue of all. They are against preventing crime. They are fighting us. I want to go into Chicago, and I have this incompetent governor that doesn't want us. Do you know that this weekend?
Democrats love crime. They want to do more crime. They are criminals. Also, I was convicted, but that's okay. That was a crime in and of itself. Democrats are the criminals. They're crimers. They want crime. They want to legalize crime. Everybody transgender. Think about that. Like, the only reason why we're all aware of what he's trying to fucking say here is because he has so much, I guess, messaging discipline on this issue. He is like the Bernie Sanders of lying about Democrats. Like, what Medicare for All is for Bernie Sanders. Like, if Bernie Sanders went up on stage and was like, everybody Medicare, everyone would understand what he means, okay? And this is for Trump. It's just like, everybody transgender, Democrats want crimes, immigrants are rapists, decapitators, and baby annihilators, and we just got to fucking, we got to put a stop to that. That's it. Everything's computer. Everything transgender. Transgender for all. That's what they want.
72 people were shot in Chicago. I'm embarrassed to say it in front of the president of Poland. 11 people were killed. 72 people were shot. Last week, 7 people were killed in Chicago, a place which is probably your #1 place. I hate to say it.
Yeah, a lot of Poles in Chicago.
And we got to keep it safe. But 7 people were killed. The week before that, 5 people were killed and 21 people were shot. This is in 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, I lost almost 35 people were killed. It could have been stopped. If you look at Washington, D.C., 3 weeks ago, it was the same or worse. And now it's considered a totally safe zone. Restaurants are open. They're bustling. Restaurants, you have to see, restaurants were dying. Nobody wanted to go out. They didn't want to be attacked. They didn't want to be mugged. They didn't want to be attacked even in the restaurant. And you take a look at what's happened. Friends of mine that haven't gone to a restaurant in 4 years, one of them went out 5 times in the last 2 weeks to a restaurant with his family. They feel totally safe. Washington, D.C. is a totally safe city. You're not reporting any crime because there is none. They said crime is down 87%, and I said, no, it's not. It's down 100%. We have a great thing going. I could do that with Chicago. We could do that with New York. We could do it with Los Angeles. So we're making a determination now. Do we go to Chicago, or do we go to a place like New Orleans?
Yeah, now he's saying he's sending him to Chicago, by the way. And he also presented, he floated the idea of like invading New Orleans as well. Which would be, I guess, the first of its kind for a red state. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to go for Chicago. Oh. Any reason he never mentioned San Francisco? I feel like that's the Republicans' favorite city to shit on. I think that's old school. Because remember, San Francisco is now like right wing, kind of, because all the tech billionaires and shit. So it's good now because all the libertarian, like pro gay, fake woke tech billionaires have decided that they love Trump and they're going to defend Trump. So their stomping grounds are no longer presented as a major threat.
Orleans, where we have a great governor, Jeff Landry, who wants us to come in and straighten out a very nice section of this country. That's
also, San Francisco is not, I mean, Oakland is, but San Francisco itself is not black enough, I don't think. So that's part of the reason why he doesn't have that same level of smoke. Because like Chicago's a black city, there's a higher percentage population of black people in Chicago. Right? Atlanta, Chicago, a lot of places in the South as well. If he were to like send the military there, he would be sending him to like majority, or not even majority, but like higher percentage black population areas.
Become quite tough, quite bad. So we're going to be going to.
That's why he's talking about Baltimore, for example.
Maybe Louisiana. and you have New Orleans, which has a crime problem. We'll straighten that out in about 2 weeks. It'll take us 2 weeks, easier than D.C. But we could straighten out Chicago. All they have to do is ask us to go into Chicago if we don't have the support of some of these politicians. But I'll tell you who is supporting us, the people of Chicago. And I sort of want them to let it be known. They have incompetent people, a guy like Gavin Newsom.
It sucks because, like, everything I said about what he was doing when I was covering the LA protests and, like, the LA military, the LA military invasion, I said it was as a testing ground that he was going to inevitably send the troops to, like, he was basically testing the public appetite for this kind of thing, and the pushback that he was going to receive, and that he was inevitably going to go after other blue cities as well. And it's obvious that he's doing that. Like, that's precisely what the goal was. That's it.
He's the governor of a state that if we didn't go into Los Angeles with our soldiers, with our National Guard, you wouldn't even be having the Olympics there. They were going to take it. And remember this, your top law enforcement officer in Los Angeles said, there's no way we could have done this without President Trump coming in.
That's also bullshit. I mean, that's bullshit. Everyone that is, like, even people who are a part of, like, the policing structure in Los Angeles were not happy about armed, lethal military members storming the fucking streets. Even if ultimately it was a show of force, even if ultimately it didn't, like, amount to anything, and it was a totally unnecessary posture, partially because, like, domestic police is already heavily militarized anyway, and there was no need for that level of, like, pushback. No one actually thought that this was great. The mayor was against it. The cops didn't actually appreciate it either. I mean, we were there. A big part of what the police riot control movements were to move the crowds away from the federal buildings where there were federal law enforcement officers propped up on fucking balconies and shit with, like, less than lethal ordnance that they were deploying onto crowds. Like, the cops' entire job there was to move the crowds away to the best of their ability and disperse them on other throughout other streets of Los Angeles. The NOLA mentioned as part of their expansion of Angola Plantation as an ICE camp. New Orleans natives remember how the National Guard and cops murdered people in the streets during Katrina. Yeah, that's also another part of obviously America's dark history.
With the troops, we saved Los Angeles and we saved the Olympics. Thank you very much.
I got this, sir. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. Mr. President, in regards to Gavin Newsom, would you be open to a congressional investigation in regards to the specific Palisades fire where it killed 12 seniors to see if there's any negligence on Gavin Newsom or Karen Bass in regards to those deaths?
Well, I'll tell you, there's negligence on not getting people permits. That is negligent. We got all of the federal permits. Lee Zeldin, the federal permits are much more difficult. They were all gotten within 30 days. People could go build their houses. It's going to be years before they are allowed to build their house. And Karen Bass is grossly incompetent. And Newsom, this is a very incompetent guy. I watched him with the hands. I'm saying, what's going on with the hands? There's something wrong with him. Do you watch him? There's something wrong with this guy. But more importantly, he didn't allow the water to come from the Pacific Northwest. You know, they have tremendous amounts of water in California. People don't know. They send the water out to the Pacific Ocean. So I demanded it be open. If that were open during the fire, before the fire, you wouldn't have had the fire because all the sprinklers would have worked in the houses. They had no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants. You wouldn't have had the fires. It would have been put out after one house, two houses. But he stopped the water from coming in. And I had to send in the military to have that water opened after the fires. And now they have water, but he should have more because they've restricted. They still restricted. There's something wrong with these people. There's something really wrong. As to investigation, I view it as a gross incompetence. I view it as an ideology that's wrong. It's a radical left ideology. And if I didn't win this election, I think our country would be destroyed. I don't believe you'd be here right now, and our country would be destroyed. Yeah.
Mr. President Trump, thank you, sir. What's the most important branches of interest between Poland and U.S. in your opinion?
Well, it's just the relationship we have. I think there's a great trust and a great, more than most countries, more than almost any countries. We have some in a category that's very special, and Poland is in that category. We have a very special relationship. It's like the question about the soldiers that was asked. We never even thought in terms of removing soldiers from Poland. We do think about it with regard to other countries, but we would never know. We're with Poland all the way, and we will help Poland protect itself.
Awesome. It's just, I'm beginning to notice a pattern here where it's like every problem requires sending the military. Sending the military. Poland exists. Send it the military. We need to use the military. The military is a necessity. Is there crime happening? It's time for the military. Open presents. Thank you for the 25 gifted subs. Time to send the military to open presents.
I would like to add something. Yeah, of course, security is most important also for our relation.
I mean, it's giving declining empire for sure. Okay, when your only active industry is around the military-industrial complex, and like your only large organizational. Like the largest fucking labor force that you have is just a bunch of fucking dudes with guns, the military, outside of like, I don't know, Walmart distribution facilities and Amazon distribution facilities, then yeah, you're going to keep using that. You're going to keep using that for everything. Keep using the military. It's the best. We have it. Time to invade. We got a military waiting. Would be a real shame if we don't use it. This motherfucker, bro, he's like, oh, we got real issues with housing. Send in the military, bomb the houses, and rebuild them.
And I'm a historian, as you know, maybe, Mr. President. Sure. I'm a historian, and this is the first time in Polish history, in 20th century and the 21st century, that the Poles are happy that we have foreign soldiers. In Poland, so the American soldiers are the part of our society nowadays. We have almost 10,000 soldiers, and this is the signal to the whole world and also to the Russian Federation that we are together, but we are not like the Poland free riders in Europe and in NATO. Mr. President Trump knows it, because our GDP for military service achieved 4.7, so we are probably the one NATO nation which is on this level, and we will not stop. Me, as the President of Poland, we are going to achieve 5% of GDP for military service, but with American soldiers on Polish soil, we solidify and we are secure.
Just about that, Poland was one of two nations that paid more than they were supposed to with NATO. I don't know if anyone knows that, but there were two nations, and Poland paid more than they were supposed to. They thought it was low. And by the way, since then, at my request, they've raised it from 2% to 5%. But Poland was one of two nations that paid more than they were supposed to, which was a very nice thing. Yeah.
You were not invited to the parade in Beijing.
Never even thought about it until just now.
I do want to mention another I told you so moment. One of the things that I actually consistently brought up over and over again was that a lot of young people that took a shot in the dark at Donald Trump because they were too young to remember what it was like when he was president, where he made a lot of gains from like Gen Z voters, would very quickly realize that he sucks ass. And I told you this ahead of time. I literally said, like, all these people that fucking voted for him, especially young people that he was actively trying to get support from, because it was one of the one of the only remaining avenues where people just like didn't have a a fully fleshed out opinion of Trump, especially like a negative one, they were inevitably going to swing back around and go, this guy sucks. And the same goes for a lot of like independents, a lot of people in the margins. This is what happened in Trump 1 as well, right? People vote for the guy because they think he's going to break the systems. And he's also like, you know, he's also consistently talking about things that other politicians simply don't talk about, like moneyed interests and things like that. And then you vote for him, and then you realize he's just as fucking transparently corrupt as anybody else. I guess the only difference is he's transparent in his corruption, as opposed to like other groups that or other politicians that aren't as transparent. But he's also a bumbling old fool who's not improving people's lives at all. And they would inevitably turn around and go, yeah, this shit sucks. And here we are. Trump's dropped approval among 18 to 29-year-olds have gone up to a 66% disapproval, shot up 29%. His job approval among 18 to 29-year-olds is at 30%. That's minus 12. This is always the same shit. Remember, I talked to you about trans issues, for example. I told you, there is going to be a point where people go, wait a minute, he's dunking on trans people, but that's not actually improving my life. What the fuck? That's it. All of these issues are simple distractions. They're very successful at they're very successful at making people pay attention. They're very successful at like shifting people's priorities away from the issues that actually matter. But when you actually become the president, it's not just about, please don't read statistics if you aren't going to say the thing. What? The polls are a lie. They're lying. The young people love me. Is that what you're saying? Oh, holy Toledo. Trump's job approval among 18 to 29-year-olds is down, down, down. Last time this was checked is in 225. February 2nd, 225. Is that good? That's what you were saying. You wanted me to say, holy Toledo. I am the 30%. Ask me anything. Let's fucking go, MAGA. I am the 30%. Suck my dick. Okay. Okay, dude. Why can't conservatives accept the L? Real events. Shooting in Oklahoma hospital. Multiple cops shot in Charlotte. Pray for Charlotte. Multiple cops shot. I don't think you are actually a Trump supporter. Hong Kong matters. Fuck China. Dem house control. Wait, maybe this was like one of those like liberals who then turned into a MAGA guy. Or maybe he's just memeing. I feel like he's just memeing. He's a... Maybe he is. Chatter, are you a former liberal turned? You are spot on. I was Dem. Oh, shit. No, this is great. Okay, following since 2020, November 3rd, okay, obviously followed in the last election, was a liberal, the election prior to this last one, was a liberal, but was like a pro-NatSec, pro-NATO, anti-America's foreign adversary style liberal. And I guess like if I am to look at what radicalized them, I would suspect that it was maybe in like the 2021 era, post-2021, like we found a shiny. No, I don't think this is a shiny. I think this is like, and it's not head trauma either. No. I think this guy became pro-Trump after BLM protests and stuff like that, because he's talking about like multiple cops being shot in Charlotte. So if I were to clock him, I would say that it was like, I joined the military in 2018. Okay, that could be part of that. That could be part of it. But I think this is a COVID radicalization. Hard crime lib, the Anna Kasparian route. It could be hard crime, crime panic liberal that turned reactionary, turned into a Republican. It could be the type of motherfucker that was a COVID guy. Could be a COVID guy as well. Like Democrats went heavy-handed with COVID policies that turned me into a fucking Republican. Or it could be that he started watching other liberal content creators, moved away, wanted to vote Biden 2020, but never got a mail-in ballot at my duty station. Maybe watch some Sex Pestiny on his journey and eventually became more and more reactionary. Potentially. I don't know.